Welcome to the exciting episode where you see me actually get to the point of popping car panels out of moulds. Welcome to the exciting episode where I get these perfect wings and gel coat them while absolutely knackered. Wait to see what happens. Right, after completing the bumper insert bit, I thought I'd do the wings. For these, I need to make a mould, so I need to use lessons learned, which is make everything bloody perfect. We're starting with the right-hand side front wing, passenger side for my car. So I've been busy with the sandpaper, various grits, getting this all smooth and lovely, like it was when I put it on the wing, but a bit better. As I was sanding, I exposed a few bubbles. Also, the width around the headlight isn't standard, so I've put some blade tape around. I'm going to fill up with some slop behind that to make it nice and even. That has got fresh slop around there going up to the tape. So I'll leave that to dry, sand it off. So back to the rust patches. So I cleaned all the rust off the various patches on this. And now I want to treat them quickly so they don't flash rust, which is why I've got some Miracle Glass. This is a mould release wax. But what it should do is stop the rust flashing back on there. I've silvered over the headlight, but I'm beginning to think about this mould. Now, that slopes up that way, so it'll release. That all slopes that way, so it'll release that way. This end of the wing is obviously thicker than that end, so I can't push it that way out the mould. And there's an overhang here where the headlight is. So there we have a bit of plastic cut to size. I think that should be better. I'm going to stick some more of the silver tape over just to cover the edges, etc. Still trying to work out this mould, how to avoid mechanical lock-in and everything. I think if I mould this half of the wing as one mould, and then have a split sort of along that line there, so all that underneath there will be the second half of the split, that will prevent lock-in. One thing I noticed when I did turn it over like this is just how dented that wing is. Can you see those dents? After much umming and ahhing, staring and swearing, I decided that is where the mould split's going to be. So, I'm going to make this half up. It's going to come out this way. The flange is down around here, around the wheel arch. That'll pop out nicely. Then take that down. Mould this half against that one I just made, and all will be good. That's just a tatty template, and I'm going to use that to make it so it's nice and stiff. But I'm not going to do it right now because it's the middle of the night. Oh yes, you will. Put the flanges on around the side here. Yeah, it gets a bit patchy down this end. I'm covered in hot glue and I don't give a shit at the moment. It's nearly midnight. First layer of wax on. Here it is, wax with the second coat. It's all nice and slippy, slidey. But I realised one thing I need that the proper YouTube influencers have is a whole bunch of assistants to do this for you, because polish on, polish off was fine for Karate Kid, but gotta start. And this is coat 3, I think. I'm in danger of losing count here. So dull. And another coat of wax down. 4 coats of wax. Yeah, I've run out of chalk. Really kind of difficult now because you put the wax on and you take it off and it looks just the same. All smooth and waxy. All that's happening is my edging strip's peeling away, so that needs hot glue back in again. Putting the wax on around here, just putting it on roughly to begin with, tidy up afterwards. Left that on the radiator for an hour, so it's actually soft enough to use. I put the wax on earlier, and it was just a case of trying to ram it in as much as possible. That left loads of sort of bits sticking out. So the tool that Easy Composites give to smooth it is this. So you have a little ball or a big ball. Trouble that I've got is when it's cold, the wax goes really solid really quickly. And if you try to use that ball thing, it just pulls it back out. So what I've been using instead are these little clay modelling tools. I had some, well, 2,
lying around, and they're great because you've got square end and profiles and angles and shapes, and they just cut through the clay, through the wax really easily. Right, good news, bad news time. Good news is Friday night, bad news is I'm knackered and my wife's sick in bed. Good news is that means I've got a few hours in the garage uninterrupted to try and get this sorted, so let's get to what we're doing. Prepping that didn't take as long as I thought. Those little tools to get the wax out were a godsend. So I think I'm going to move on to the gel coat. I'm knackered.
Don't work with your child, you'll make dumb mistakes.
This stuff's meant to be used at between 18 and 25 degrees, but we're in the south of England in February, so we're not going to get that. Got the heater going, and we have 14 degrees. So it's meant to be 3%. I'm going to mix it slightly hot, so that it will hopefully cure overnight. I'll leave it overnight. It doesn't matter with this stuff, the Unimold, it can be left to go off completely. You don't have to wait till it's tacky, anything like that. So hopefully overnight will be okay. We'll come back in the morning and see it. I've got that little tub I started with, so I'm going to mix that up first, splash it all over, see how far that goes before opening the new one.
Don't work with your child, you'll make dumb mistakes.
I'm knackered. That was about 350 grams, 360 grams. It's done 3/4 of the first coat, so it's about on par. It said 500 the first coat, 500 the second coat, so looks good. It stinks, it's sticky, it's pretty horrible to work with, but I'm going to finish off, try and get this first coat finished. So
don't work with your child, you'll make dumb mistakes.
Right, nothing to do now but leave this to go off overnight. It's beautiful, multicoloured. Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, I worked when I was tired. Yeah, I made a dumb mistake. I had to strip all the gel coat off, flanges off, everything. You don't see a grown man cry, so I won't tell you. Like, subscribe. Next week's episode where we repair everything and make it all good. Welcome to this exciting episode where I take you from the very beginning to the very end of making my first ever split mold.
It's the first day of spring, the frost is just about cleared, skies are blue, sun's out. Let's see if we can make some fucking progress on this. So, the wing is there. Today, start applying the wax, put the flange on, start applying the wax, and hopefully by the end of the day, we'll be at a point where it's all polished up nicely, ready for the gel coat again. This time, I'll do it properly. Right, and now I want to make the flange. I've got this polypropylene, which is nice and smooth, so it should make better flanges than the other stuff I used. First thing I need to do is get a piece across here. Obviously that rocks, so my thinking is have that against here, cut that bit out, so that it will be a nice smooth finish. I need to make a template. So, got this. What I'm going to do, we glue it here, so that piece is fixed. Then, gradually trim it along its length until it goes to there. And there we have our template. So it's been hot glued on. I've got the tape there, so I'm going to cut along the tape to get a nice neat edge. Transfer that onto the polycarb, and then I'll have a nice neat flange right the way along there. And here I'm marking the template, and then I use a fine-toothed jigsaw to cut the plastic without shattering it. Just a quick update around lunchtime. Made progress, got that done. Around here, up this edge, I've taped over these with silver foil around the wheel arch and there. I haven't been filming much because, well, my fingerprint got covered in hot glue, so I couldn't unlock the phone, and my hot glue gun broke, so I've had to buy a new one of those.
This time round, I remembered to put the wax filleting in before I polish up the surfaces. The last one wasn't a cock-up, it was a prototype to learn. Yeah.
Sun setting, it's almost 6. What have I done? We got the flange on. We got the wax filling the gap. Got some tinfoil around the edges, and we've got one coat of wax on it. Where the hell's day gone? Well, had a bacon sandwich and took an hour out to play rugby with the grandson. Things like that happened, so the hot glue went under there. I didn't realise till I put the stuff on, so it's now glued bent. I had to remove all the hot glue that was left scabby on the surface. Cutting all these pieces, make him fit. That took a while, but overall, I'm happy. Just another 5 coats of wax now. 3 polishes in, and it's looking very shiny. 6 coats of wax, 1 coat of CR. So hopefully that easy release chemical release agent on top of 6 coats of wax will make this just fly off when I coat it with the gel coat. But I'm not going to coat it by gel coat tonight because I'm knackered, and you don't want to do work when you're late, you'll make mistakes. So, brave new day tomorrow.
7 hours later, a bright new day, and ready to go. Temperature's not exactly 15 to 25 degrees, so I'm going to shut these doors, turn on the heater, and take this gel coat indoors to warm through before I try anything.
Almost an hour with the heater on and we're nearly into double figures.
Yeah, I got bored of waiting for it to heat up, so mix up the gel coat, add the MXP, just add a bit more MXP than the 3%, make it about 4%, so it's a little bit warmer. Should still cure. It's got the heater still going, as you can hear. Yeah, splish splash with gel coat. Try and spread it evenly. Putting the bulbs out first helps. It's horrible stuff to work with because you're wearing a breather mask. And yeah, not much more to say. You're watching a bloke paint a car. This time the gel coat is all the same colour, all the right mix, and goes on nicely.
That's 1 coat finished. I'm now going to leave it go off, leave the heater on, going to get some fresh air. Here we have the 2nd coat painted on. I didn't bother filming me painting it because you can imagine me with a paintbrush. Got the heater going, we're running at 14 degrees. Hopefully leave that and it'll be gone off by tomorrow. Not getting any warmer in the mornings. Now doing the coupling layer, so 1 sheet, 2 sheets, scrag end. Make sure you're using the right resin. Coupling coat, spare tin, coupling coat.
Coupling resin goes from pretty pink to a mucky brown, and I should have made smaller, easier to manage pieces of glass fibre, but hey ho.
So here we are, back after it's gone off. Some obvious stuff to learn. Don't try and do it in big sheets. Cut them smaller so they're manageable. I'm working on a bench that's too high so I can't reach over it properly. Sanded down the worst of the bumps and lumps. What I'm doing now is prepping the glass. They say don't do more than like half a metre at a time. So what I'm going to do is cut a whole load of 40 centimetre sections.
I'm using the tabletop and the vertical bit to keep the cuts parallel, and basically cut through with a Stanley but tearing them as well, giving nice loose edges. I plan to start laying up the headlight end because it's the most fiddly with the awkward angles and stuff. So that's going to have these pieces cut to shape. Yeah, again, using this sort of Stanley to try and cut and tear so they lay flat. Then it's just stripes along the length.
Good morning. It's 7 o'clock on a Friday morning. So I thought I'd get that lot stuck to that with that.
It even speed up 16 times. This takes forever. But basically, it's really simple. You slap slop on, resin on, put the glass fibre down, pat it in, do the next layer, do the next layer, do the next layer. 4 layers each time. I had the piles and piles of 4, so I knew I'd do the full set. Didn't lose count. What did I know from this? The sticky, horrible job to do. You get gloves get all caught up. Other than that, bit fumey, so wear respirators. Not that challenging, just messy. Anyway, let's cut to when it's dry.
It's now some hours later, nice and hard. I now need to remove these flanges.
I flip the mold onto its back to get the flanges off. Where's the bloody ton? But look how easy these flanges come off.
Comes off easy. Just trying to set the mould up to do the other side. Walk down here. Oh, doesn't that stick out? I think the mould has moved the actual metal, so hopefully I can pull that back in tight.
But I'm going to ignore that and carry on. So polish it 7 times, slap the junk on, here's the coupling coat going on, stick the unimold on, and let it all go off beautifully. And here it is a few days later when it's all nice and hard. Mark out the holes so I can put some bolts through so I can locate the 2 halves of the split mold. Then I'm going to drill through, put the bolts in, and then take the bolts back out and try and split the mold. That's going to be easy, isn't it? Actually, remove the flanges is easy. I wish it was all like this. Time to do the real split, and we find the gap between the 2 flanges, tap a little wedge in, tap, 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 all the way around, and really pleasingly, the 2 flanges separate quite nicely. Time to flip it over and try and get the inside piece out. That might be a bit more challenging, so let's see how it goes. Yeah, as guessed, it's a bit more difficult. It does actually get separate a bit, especially at the metal end. But when you're moving the stuff where it's just foam and filler, the sounds are cracking. But beautiful moment, bit blurry. We actually get 1/2 of that split mold to split. Yay, hey! And this is what the mold looks before it's cleaned up. A couple of bits of stuck to it, a few bits of wobbly gel coat, but let's get the other half out, and then we can clean them both up together. Again, this started remarkably easy. There was a bit of mechanical lock in the corner, a section of gel coat had kind of dribbled over, but hit it with a chisel, that got around that problem. Then flip it over, wiggle it, move it, try to use the bit of free boot you got to leave the rest, bang it with a hammer, and then you get that glorious moment as it goes click, crack, click, and pops out the mold. And here we have the 2 halves of the mold bolted together. You can see there's still wax, any cleaning, sanding, all the proper prep. But I'm going to stop this video here because I'm happy with that. So next video will be cleaning that mold up properly and taking a carbon fiber piece out of it. Like, subscribe, etc. And see you next episode. Cheers, guys.
Welcome to this exciting episode where we clean the mould and pop out our first panel. First, let's look at the mould. I'm about to start cleaning the mould up here, so I split it into 2 halves. That's 1/2, that's the other. That's the headlight that end, that's the front wing that end. This big flat nice piece is the flange which bolts onto that big flat nice piece. This piece is really weird. It sort of ripples and bulges as original metal, so need to have a think about that one. Some of the problems we're having: bits like this, bits like this, bits like this, where it just needs sanding smooth. And this is the mould after I've gone over with some 800 and 1200 wet and dry with some washing up liquid to get it clean. So this lot's not too bad, and it does highlight where I need to do things. This area right along there. But at least now I can see what I'm working with. So I guess a bit of work. After a lot of sanding, the first half of the mould is now sitting in the garden drying in the sunshine. So I come down this morning already to wash my moulds, get them all nice and clean, and yeah, more ice. All the cleaning and sanding revealed some faults in the gel coat, so they're like bubbles underneath or just big dents. Use a Dremel to rough these out, then another layer of gel coat over the top to let them be filled and sanded smooth. Just getting ready to mix up the gel coat. Because this is going to be exposed to the oxygen, there's nothing, it's not against the mould or anything, it won't set unless I add wax additive. I know this slipped out of sequence, but it's good advice, so watch it. It's a sunny Sunday, late afternoon. and spent an entire sodden day sanding, polishing, all of this lot. I've used every grit known to man. Here it is after 2 coats of wax. Miracle Gloss has done a miracle and put a gloss on it. Hey, I've escaped the garage today and come to a car resto show. Fed up with polishing, but I met a nice man who's told me all about machine polishing. Kieran's going to tell me why I need a, whatever this thing is.
Basically, it's a machine polisher, dual action machine polisher. The kit comes with everything that you possibly need to start off yourself.
All that stuff.
We basically have compounds, we have pads, clay bars and lubes all in one, including the machine polisher as well itself.
Great advert, thank you. Do I get a discount?
Unfortunately not, sir, no, because the price is already discounted.
Sunday morning, and I need to lay the carbon fibre into this mould. I've got to make sure there's no puckers in the corners. I've got to make sure that the direction of the weave is all consistent and correct, lines up with the front of the car. Got to make sure that it'll match everything else without just doing any distortion into the cloth. So first of all, I'm going to make a template out of peel ply. The thing about it is it's got straight lines on it, so I can cut straight and I can see how it lines up. Well, that's the flat cloth just let in there. It's not actually too bad. After much humming and ahhing and sucking of teeth, I'm putting a little pleat there, so that's one little cut there, and I'm putting that up that line there. So there's the template transferred to carbon. I did spray it with the epoxy clear beforehand, so it hasn't frayed too much, and hopefully there's not too much distortion in the weave. So there's the 200 GSM fitted. That is obviously some reinforcement for the top of the wing. Hopefully that'll stop it flexing that way. I don't think it needs it down there, but I'm about to put in another load of 650 GSM carbon. Here's the peel ply fitted. Those few creases not a problem, they'll flatten out. But the point is it covers all the carbon fibre. Hey, guess what? Another layer in this. So now we've got the mesh on top. What's left on this? 200. The hex is the reinforcement. 650. Peel ply. Mesh. Right, looks like time for a break. And after a little light relief, I'm back in the building. Okay, so I've got the spiral tube fitted along there, around there, down this side. It should mean we can fill this reasonably well. I've got inlet ports because sticking it in both holes in the same section should, well, it's more fun for a start. Anyway, so no, it should get the resin to flow through at enough rate, and I'll have a vacuum here sucking it out.
Here's me sat on the floor trying to make a vacuum bag. I spent ages on this, get it beautifully sealed, then go on and try to drop test it and all the stuff you have to do for infusion. Stupid mistake. You know, I've got a split mould. Well, that split seam is not airtight. So it doesn't matter how much I seal this top half, that whole thing is never going to work for resin infusion. Air will seep through that split mould piece. Tried to be clever and use some tire sealant to seal it, but we'll see the results. Yeah. That's all my plans for resin infusion out the window. It's going to be a wet layup. All I need now is a fresh bit of carbon fibre with a cosmetic layer to hide the pink gloop.
How fucking annoying is that? Right, it's Mother's Day here in the UK, so I've got to start really 6 o'clock. Get this out of the way before the family come around for a barbecue. We have our new roll of carbon fibre. Roll it out, fusion fix it to secure the weave, then we go on to the mould. That, I'm going to give it another coat of CR release agent to hopefully release it. Can't do the infusion as I wanted to, so I'm going to laminate it. So, new roll, cosmetic layer, beautiful. Then I've got that sheet there, and that sheet there, which was last week's cosmetic layer on the fucked up thing. 200, 200, 600. Hopefully that'll be enough for the wing. So I'm going to do that wing without the reinforcement.
So here I go with the wet layup. I'm actually using infusion resin for this first bit. See if it makes a difference to the surface. No idea. Anyway, yeah, just normal wet layup. Resin fibre, blah, blah, blah. I actually stick a vacuum bag over the top of it. I'm not going to be vacuum bagging, I'm not doing resin infusion. But the idea is that this should help press the carbon fibre into the mould. I don't want to vacuum on for too long, otherwise it'll start sucking up bubbles through the gap on the split mould, which just causes all this fun and games. Anyway, wet layup, nothing clever there. With it all set hard, you can see just how much resin I wasted with this wet layup method. Anyway, let's just pop it from the mould. Undo the bolts of the split mould, stick some wedges in behind the carbon fibre. Don't forget to tap some in to split the mould itself, and then tap, tap, tap.
After much tapping of wedges and pulling of fibre, we put half the mould off. Hopefully the other half should come out better. All that is the glue that I tried to pump in when I was trying to seal it before I discovered that was actually cocking up the mould. But let's put the other half out and see what it looks like. So we reached the next major milestone. I have a body panel out in carbon. There's a lot of cleaning up and obviously fitting, but that I'm actually quite happy with. So there we have it. The first front wing in carbon fibre. It's a little bit rough, but that'll stand out. That wing does tuck in, but I've got to tighten that corner up. I'm going to do the mould to the other wing, put the other wing on, and then I'll do the finessing on both at the same time. So next episode you should see me knock that mould up, probably take the get that to the same state as that one, and might even start doing some finishing touches on it. Anyway, like, subscribe, and you can see that wing look like that wing, but better. Cheers guys.